There's someone outside who wants to talk to you.
Who?
It's, that mafia guy.
What? You mean the guy that literally killed me?
Yeah, that guy.
You let him in?
I never said I did.
Oh, we're all here, so it had to be you.
Look, the guy said please. He wants to apologize. He even brought a game for you.
Fuck that, I'm killing his ass.
You know that I can hear you.
I'm just kidding, I'm not actually gonna kill you. I'm gonna kill his ass. Talk.
You brought weapons.
Oh really? I thought this was a hammer. Of course I brought weapons! What do you think, I'm stupid? You killed me last time. Like, I actually died. What do you want?
I just want to tell you something.
On backlog. Been gone for way too long. On backlog. Got so many games to play, dog. On backlog. Donkey Kong expands my dome. On backlog. Me and Carlo been fucking since dawn. On backlog. Did you know that Carlo wears thongs? On backlog. I really fucking hate this song. Yeah.
Oh shit, here we go again.
What is up guys, it is Robert of Gaming with me and welcome to Back of the Backlog, the series where we take a look at the games that I recently beat off my backlog. Today's episode is on the game Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. Last season we took a look at the game Grand Theft Auto 3 and had a lot of fun with it, but I was curious to see some improvements for future installments. Well, I didn't wait too long and ended up playing Grand Theft Auto San Andreas for this season. Grand Theft Auto San Andreas was released on October 26, 2004 for the PlayStation 2 in the US. It was developed by Rockstar North and published by Rockstar Games. We are taking a look at the original Xbox version that released a year later, although I do own it on PS2 and Xbox 360 and PC and PC again. Yeah, this is the 5th version of Grand Theft Auto San Andreas I own. No, I didn't mean for this to happen. The other ones were pretty much all hand-me-downs. The 360 version I probably just bought at a random time when I was a kid. I genuinely forgot I owned this. And the Steam version was just a really good deal, but I actually ended up playing on the original Xbox version. Now why? Well, the PS2 version isn't going to be the best console version, while the Xbox 360 version is based on a worse mobile version, and the PC version, while technically the best, doesn't support controllers. I like me some controllers, so I went with the original Xbox version. Now I always hear San Andreas in talks to be the best Grand Theft Auto game, if not one of the best games of all time. It has a mighty 95 on Metacritic for PS2, with Xbox and PC versions coming down a couple points to a 93. It's one of the best selling games of all time at 27.5 million copies sold, which made it the best selling GTA until GTA 5 sold 170 million, which I still don't understand that massive gap and leap. Very odd to me. All this does admittedly set some high expectations, but I went into this game not thinking anything of it. Well, is this game as good as people make it sound to be? Here we are, 18 years after its original release. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about the story first. Carl Johnson, or CJ, travels to the state of San Andreas after he gets a bad phone call from his brother Sweet of bad news that his mother was killed. While in a taxi, the cops stop him and we are introduced to Officer Tenpenny, who is played by Samuel Jackson, by the way. I recognized that voice instantly. The officers frame CJ for a cop murder and throw him out of the car, telling him they'll see him around, forcing him to do jobs for them or else he'll be thrown in jail for killing a cop, a crime that he never committed. He reunites with his Grove Street family that tells him that their rival gang, the Ballas, have been taking over their territories. CJ decides to stay and help out regain influence for Grove Street. It's a solid and also pretty funny intro with plenty of quotables that have lived on through memes of today. Although this intro is just a piece of the story gets crazier later on. Right off the bat, visually this is quite the upgrade from GTA 3. Now remember, I am playing this on the Xbox, which is more powerful than a PS2, which is where I played GTA 3. Regardless, I thought the visuals were really impressive. There's a lot more going on in the world in terms of environment details, reflections, and textures. There's a significant upgrade in character models too. As with all games striving for realism, it doesn't really age well in terms of looking real, but I do genuinely like the visuals of this game. I was definitely impressed. It's probably because I played GTA 3 this year, but considering it was only 3 years after 3 released, it's quite the visual upgrade. The controls got an upgrade too. Aiming still automatically targets a character, but you can also aim around freely with the second analog stick, which is a very huge improvement. I also feel the auto target was improved, even if it still does snap sometimes to characters I wasn't intending to target. Also, the second analog stick actually allowed for full camera control this time around in general, which was really great. Controlling cars feels the same as GTA 3, although I feel like there are more cars in San Andreas that swerve way too easily. However, you just can't beat driving in the open world of a GTA game with its wide variety of cars to choose from. Thankfully, cars also don't explode after a few hits like in GTA 3. The cars in San Andreas can actually take a beating before blowing up. And of course, the radio is as entertaining as last time with its hilariously over-the-top commercials and the talk radio station. Crazy enough, they wrote over 2 hours worth of dialogue for the talk radio station this time around, and that is just some absolute incredible commitment and dedication to detail. Then there's the controls for flying, and I'll get to that later. The game structure is like any other game in the franchise. You'll get a phone call from one of the many characters you'll run into, and they'll give you a mission when you head to their location. The cast is really strong in this game with a wide variety of personalities and great voice acting. I enjoyed pretty much every character and thought they really added to this game. CJ is a great protagonist to play as, seeing him grow throughout the journey, becoming a pretty important man in the different cities of San Andreas. Yes, different cities. I was honestly happy with the beginning of Los Santos, but from the map screen, you could see that you would eventually explore other areas, which you do, and when you fully have access to the full map, I was super surprised at how huge that map was. Each area is genuinely different from one another. You got your initial city area of Los Santos, but then you'll eventually go to a countryside-like area where many people don't even know how to drive. Seriously, drivers will constantly crash into each other at fast speeds, creating some hilarious buildup. Then there's even a Las Vegas-like area with casinos, tall buildings, and neon lights. You could even go into the casinos and gamble with slot machines, Wheel of Fortune, and several card games. I honestly didn't expect the variety, and I was happy to see it.
I lost all my money in the casino.
Really? You're into gambling like that?
I guess so. We don't have anything like that on my home planet.
Holy shit, for real? What does that say about humans?
I mean, if you could gamble real money, then it would be a pretty bad look.
There's casinos all over the world.
Are you fucking for real? Take me. You have to take me. We must gamble our lives away.
Yo! What? Relax! No! Oh my god, no!
Damn. What does that say about aliens?
It's an incredibly well-designed, organic feeling map made with a ton of love. There's so much going on in every section and I can't help but be impressed. Even standing still on a block has something going on. NPCs will walk past you and say something to you, sometimes complimenting you, sometimes talking shit about you. CJ can even reply with some funny remarks. Other NPCs will talk to each other or destruction just occurs. Fights, police chases, the world is alive around you, and it's something that you could tell the developers really cared about portraying. CJ has some stats with some very light RPG-like elements. You could get stronger by going to the gym and lifting weights. CJ's body appearance will change too. You could get absolutely jacked. You can get absolutely fat by eating a lot. Running will get you more stamina. Swimming underwater expands your lung capacity. Everything in the game contributes to CJ's overall life in small yet cool and unique ways. You can customize the outfit of CJ, or if you're like me, wear the least amount of clothing as possible. Running around San Andreas in just underwear and a hat is the way to play. Seeing CJ in cutscenes wearing only underwear will never get old. It is hilariously great. As for the actual missions, they are a ton of fun for the most part. There's a genuine nice variety of objectives you'll be given. Early on, there's the infamous Wrong Side of the Tracks mission, which is considered to be one of the toughest missions in the game. You'll have to chase down a train as one of your friends, Big Smoke, shoots at the people on the train. Funny enough, I didn't have any problems with this mission. I got it on my first try and just had a lot of fun with it. Compared to some of the later missions, it makes me surprised people even bring this mission up when discussing difficulty. There's a hilariously fun mission where you have to break into this rapper Mad Dog's mansion to steal his rhyme book for this one guy you know who's working at a fast food restaurant. You have to sneak around the mansion with a knife, silently taking one person out at a time. There's on-rail missions where you're on the back of a motorcycle or in the passenger side of a car, taking out cops and rivals in these action-packed set pieces, which I thought was really cool. There's a bunch of storylines woven in this giant game, including missions with Grand Theft Auto 3's Catalina, the villain of that game. Yes, this game takes place before Grand Theft Auto 3, so CJ and Catalina go on crazy missions where she ups the insanity, not caring about anything. She's fucking crazy, and the conversations between her and CJ are super funny. Then later on, you even run into none other than GTA 3's protagonist, Claude, in a couple missions with racing. I thought that was just incredibly cool and really makes it feel like one connected series truly. At least these two games. And in San Andreas, Claude doesn't talk. CJ even calls him a mute asshole, which is so good. While I really enjoyed all those missions, there's a decent amount of these missions that don't feel necessary to the main progression, but for some reason are. Some of these side stories totally could have been exactly that, side missions, but are mandatory for the main story. I still would have played them because they are very much enjoyable. But thinking as a whole cohesive main game, some editing could have been made for sure. One improvement that could have been made but wasn't was checkpoints or lack thereof. It's never fun to fail a mission because then you have to go all the way back to the location where the certain character gives you the objective, and then you gotta actually go do the mission again. It's the most tedious part of these Grand Theft Auto games, and I'm not sure when they changed that. Certain missions actually let you use trip skip, which allows you to skip the trip to the objective after attempting it. Understandable, that saves time, but it's strangely not for every mission, and it still doesn't change the fact you gotta get back to the person who gave you the objective in the first place. Some missions are just too long without a single checkpoint. No missions have a checkpoint, so if you die, you just gotta start from scratch, and all the NPCs act like nothing happened. It's a weird immersion kill when they say Big Smoke was killed, and you just kind of drive back to his house and restart the mission like nothing happened. Sure, most of these missions are short enough where it's not a problem to restart, but there's a handful that can get quite tedious having to restart from the beginning. It's not a deal breaker by any stretch for this great game, but it is a strange design choice that they just kept going with.
Imagine you had to restart the entire game every time.
No, that sounds like absolute shit. Why would I want to imagine that?
I'm just saying, imagine that? Bloody hell.
Whoa. That's absolute shit.
Fuck off.
Some of my favorite missions though were with this guy named Woozy. You were out there racing him, but later find out he's blind, which made for some super funny moments. There's such good chemistry between Woozy and CJ. By the time you meet Woozy, you realize how far CJ has come. Dude is dealing with some of the biggest people in the state, controlling some major areas. It's a crazy journey he goes on that sadly gets halted in the final maybe 10 missions of the game. I was absolutely in love with this game at this point. Lack of restarting aside, San Andreas quickly became one of my favorite open world games I've ever played. The unique objectives, the funny and awesome characters, and the incredibly well designed map is all legit fantastic. Unfortunately, the last probably 10 missions are super disappointing. There's the mission Learning to Fly, which is easily the worst mission. You have to complete flight school. It's a giant tutorial section teaching you how to fly planes and helicopters. It sucks. The controls are just not good for any of these flying shits. This is strangely such a long mission that completely halts the pacing. Then once you finally complete that garbage mission, it's back-to-back missions using planes, helicopters, and military jets. It's not that I failed a lot in these missions. Hell, I completed another apparently tough mission, Freefall, in 2 tries. I didn't think it was as tough as people made it sound, but it's all not very good. Whenever I'm flying, it just isn't good. The controls feel like they are fighting against me. I could see they were trying to go with some, I guess, realistic feeling of flight, but it's just bad and clunky. I'm not even joking when I say the military jet might be the worst controlling vehicle I've ever played in any game ever. I swear it's just awful to play. Like, I get the idea of what they were going for, but no, never do that again. Please. I couldn't even believe what I was playing. The simplest of movements were not simple at all. Then, these bastards want you to park in a tiny ass hangar when every other mission it's fine to just land in the airfield. I did some strange turning and almost blew up the jet because it blows up in 2 taps, which is fucking dog shit, but I hopped down and it counted it as successful, thankfully. Never touched that jet again. Abysmal. Atrocious. It made Sonic Forces controls feel like the greatest of all time. I have no clue how any of this flight stuff got approved. No clue. I did that mission in 1 try too, but imagine if it blew up at the hangar, you'd have to restart the entire military jet mission. That is a nightmare waiting to happen. Then the last 6 missions or so are just so uninspired. It's a constant, let's go take over that area, shoot some guys, and end the mission. Literally, those are the last missions before the finale. It's so strange to go from really creative and fun objectives with breaking into houses, playing a rhythm game using your lowrider, and even breaking into Area 69, yes, the nice 69, a play on Area 51 in which you go through some really elaborate areas to steal the government's jetpack. Yes, you can use a jetpack in this game, and it is such a cool way to travel, and also is easily the best controlling flight item for some reason. There was one mission called Los Desperados in which you have to take some of your fellow gang members to a location, but they were glitched where they just did not want to go into the car. It was such a pain, and I could not find a solution as to how to fix it online. So the only thing I could do was recruit some members closer to the objective so I could just run with them, but that means I had to claim some territory close by. That just added to my frustration and continued to halt the once great pacing of this game. It also doesn't help that during the mission, when all is said and done, there was a friendly NPC that used a rocket launcher, and for some reason, like 4 times in a row, at one point after a cutscene, the person would use the rocket launcher at a horrible time, killing an important character that needed to stay alive for the mission. So I would end up failing the mission because a fucking stupid ass bitch AI would use a rocket launcher at the dumbest time at the same time 4 times in a row, making me go all the way back to where the objective is given, then all the way back to recruit some members, and then back to the actual objective, which was claim this area shit, then a cutscene, then immediately have that important NPC get killed by the dumbass's rocket launcher again, having to repeat those steps again. Mind you, when he didn't die, there was no difference. The idiot just didn't shoot the rocket launcher at that time. Yeah, the game starts to feel really rushed at this point. The game's quality and polish starts to fall down a lot at this point.
I will fully admit that I stopped playing the game at this point.
Really?
Yeah, he kept getting killed by the rocket launcher, and so I said, screw it, I'm done.
Normally I'd say something, but with this game, it is what it is.
That never happened to me.
Yeah, because you probably never left the casino.
Actually, I think you're right, because I don't even remember any of this.
Oh, dude. I think you need help.
No. You think?
Oh, I think we should move on.
Yeah. Then finally, it's the final mission, which I'm going to talk about right now, just to let you know. The final mission is given by Sweet, and what is this? What is this? Yep, you can't do the final mission in the game until you claim 35% of all gang territories. What the fuck? Come on! Claiming gang territories was essentially just side content that you could do until it just isn't. Claiming territories is literally just killing some of your rival gangs in an area they control to start a gang war. It's several waves of rival gang members and you have to take them all out, survive each wave, and if you do, then your gang claims the territory. It's a very tedious, not very fun task that I was okay with being side content. If someone likes a horde mode type thing, well, GTA San Andreas has you covered. You could do a bunch of them. But no, at the last fucking second, it becomes mandatory. 35% of all territories is way too high. That's legit like 20 territories, and trust me when I say those hours add up. Grinding away at the most monotonous objective. Finding rival gangs, killing them to start a gang war, surviving the waves, hoping you don't die, hoping there's no cops to interrupt you, rinse and repeat. Tedious, repetitive, uninteresting for hours. I was never going to claim territories, it meant nothing to me, and there was no real good incentive to do it until you randomly have to do it. It feels like major padding for a game that didn't need padding in the slightest. It's like a 35-hour game. It needed to be cut down, not fluffed up. It feels like the last 25% of this game was made by completely different developers from the first 75%. Abysmal flying controls, multiple mission-ending glitches, tedious, uncreative mission designs, and padding? What happened? What changed? The quality just drastically drops and it's so strange to me. But finally, after all those gang territories, you can finally play the final mission. Earlier on in the game, CJ is betrayed by a lot of his friends like Big Smoke. They start working with the Ballas and the cops. Sweet is thrown into jail, and this is where CJ starts to earn money and create businesses through the different set of characters you meet. Like I said, I like CJ's journey to create a better life for him and his family. Yeah, it's by doing every illegal thing in the book, but you get the idea. It's Grand Theft Auto. It's an over-the-top story, but it made for a very cool rise to money journey. When CJ eventually gets Sweet out of jail, he's pissed at CJ for abandoning the hood and allowing the Ballas to take it all over. Honestly, Sweet is the one character I don't like in this damn game. He's always complaining and he's so stuck in his fucking hood. CJ's out there making money, owning a mansion, making business opportunities for his family, but Sweet just wants the hood. And you think they're going in the direction of CJ showing Sweet another path in life, that there's more to the world than just the damn Grove Street hood, but they don't. There's a great back and forth between Sweet and CJ, but Sweet ruins it by saying this.
What you done for our hood?
Man, what the hood done for me? Always dragging me down. Ever since I got out the hood, shit been cracking. That's everybody's dream to get out the hood.
Man, you sound just like Smoke right now.
CJ sounds exactly like Big Smoke. Like, come on, where are you going with this? CJ goes through so much shit to help his brother out, and this is how he acts. He sucks, man. I was really surprised Rockstar wrote it this way, but still made it seem like CJ was doing something bad. Come on now, it just doesn't make sense. As for the final mission, the end of the line, it's a long, kinda too long, multi-part mission that is actually solid for the most part. As you travel to Big Smoke's location, you'll run into several members trying to stop you, but driving past them is no big deal. However, Big Smoke's location is highly guarded, so you first need to hijack a SWAT tank and ram into the building. It's a lot of fun controlling this behemoth. Honestly, wish there were more missions with this tank. That very short-lived section eventually welcomes you to Smoke's Crack Palace, which is an amazing name, I gotta say. You'll have to survive 4 floors of enemy encounters. It's a fun shootout section, but 4 floors of it just feels too long, which even the developers agree, as there's health and armor at every single floor. You can die pretty quick with shootouts, and so they had to have areas with armor and health considering how long this section was, and since of course there's no checkpoints. They essentially designed themselves into a corner with this one. They could have just had checkpoints, but no. Once you reach Smoke, he just kind of goes on a rant on how he's made it and fuck everybody and says,
I guess we better do this shit then.
honestly, it feels like they didn't know what to write. I feel like this could have been a bigger scene considering it's the final mission and you are about to kill your supposed lifelong friend. In the end of the day, it means nothing. Let's just kill this bastard. The battle with Smoke is nothing special. He runs around and you shoot him until he dies, but this game does one of the biggest gaming sins. Say it with me, they put other enemies in the boss battle. Yeah, this room was empty, but as soon as it starts, there's others shooting at you too. Like, man, this makes it really feel like any other shootout. You got Smoke with a larger health bar and everyone else at normal health. I mean, look at this. This is your final showdown. I really don't expect much with shooter final bosses, especially ones that take place in the real world, because they end up just being like this. Then Tenpenny shows up, tells CJ to load up the briefcase with money, and tells him he's escaping the city from a plane. As Tenpenny runs out, he causes an explosion in the building, causing everything to go on fire, and now CJ must escape through the burning building. This part sucks. Not only do you have to run out through the building fairly slowly, blowing out any fire in your way, but also take out a bunch of enemies that are for some reason still trying to take out CJ. Like, fuck off. I just did this. 4 floors of it. Now you want me to go through another 4 floors? You want me to do 8 floors of this? But now, because of the fire, the frame rate absolutely tanks, and it becomes tough to even shoot the enemies. The slowdown is nuts, to the point where it feels unplayable. First try, I just ran, thinking I probably didn't have to take the guys out, but I died. And yes, that means you have to start the mission from the very beginning. Yeah, it's just so obnoxious. But finally, I escaped the building with 2 seconds left and everyone was shooting at me, which again is dumb as all of them will die in this exploding building. The final part of this mission is in a car, making sure Sweet doesn't fall from this ladder. I really made sure to follow this damn fire truck with Tenpenny inside with every turn because I definitely didn't want to do everything a 3rd time. Eventually, Sweet lands in the car and this is it. The final section is an on-rail section where you have to make sure your car doesn't get blown up. I enjoyed this part because I like the on-rail sections, but it's nothing we haven't already done before. Finally, the fire truck loses control and crashes off a building. Tenpenny crawls out of the fire truck and eventually dies. CJ and the others that happen to be there out of nowhere and are happy it's over. Me included. I'll give it credit that it's not just another shootout, but it is weird that you never really interact with the final boss, like he just dies in a cutscene. A little anticlimactic, but it is what it is. CJ and a bunch of the characters from your journey are all around as they discuss that now that this is settled, they have to keep everything in check. CJ walks out and then he says,
"Where are you off to now?"
Finna hit the block. See what's happening.
Then the credits roll. The ending is alright, but it's nothing that's going to stay in my mind. That was Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. I'm really conflicted on this game. Trust me when I say that the first 75 to 80% of this game is damn near 10 out of 10 gaming fun. But once you hit learning to fly and all those missions and territories, so much of it completely nosedives and becomes the complete opposite of what I loved about the game. Quick-fired, well-written jokes, variety of objectives, hell, just entertaining objectives. That first 75% is absolute greatness. This is a game where I'd highly recommend playing until you get to learning to fly. At that one point, do everything you can do, and then just put the game down. So many people look back at this game so fondly, but I'd love to see how many people actually finished it. Like with any game, I'm sure it's less than 20%. Many people enjoyed fucking around in the world, playing a bunch of missions, but never really seeing those credits. And that's understandable, because this is such a huge game with a ton to do that it's easy to sink hours and make no progress on the main stuff. It's certainly a great game, but one that isn't worth seeing to the credits, which does tell you how good the game is. Overall, I'm gonna give Grand Theft Auto San Andreas a
Oh shit, here we go again.
out of 10. It is definitely a great game that could have been an amazing fucking top tier game if they didn't fumble it so hard with the late game missions. And considering those are my last impressions, it sticks out like a sore thumb. I'm assuming that's probably a pretty controversial take, but I don't know. I do see many complaints on the same missions, so I know I'm not alone on some of these frustrations though. Still, I do think it is pretty cool to go from 0 Grand Theft Auto games finished to 2 in 1 year. There are some pretty great changes from 3 for me. However, they do keep that same exact negative from 3, which is the no simple way to restart missions. I know they changed it, I just don't know when. I don't think 5 was the first one to do that. It'd be strange to me to think that 4 was structured like this, but it could have been. I guess I'll find out one day, or someone will tell me in the comments. That'll be it for today though. Thank you so much for watching. Share these around as these take so long to make. Have you played Grand Theft Auto San Andreas? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Let me know down in the comments below, and I'll see you all next time. Grand Theft Auto San Andreas was a great and frustrating adventure, but it is officially out of the backlog. You want to talk? You have 30 seconds. Anything over, or you make some stupid fucking move, the wall behind you turns red. Hey! Turn around!
I just wanted to check the colors.
You brought a gun?
No.
Then where'd you get that?
Pretty good, right?
What do you want?
This.
How? Who the hell are you?
I came to apologize.
This is a fucked up way of apologizing.
I'm not very good at this.
Trust me, I could tell.
I'm a part of the Grove Street family.
Let me guess. Finn told you about this Grove Street family we've been looking at.
Yes.
Look, he's dumb. He's bad at explaining things. But just like last time, we've been playing a Grand Theft Auto game. And there happens to be names of gangs and mafioso motherfuckers that happen to have the same name of families you're apparently connected to. But one simple Google search would have you find 4 dudes that play games every goddamn month for the past 40 months that don't know who the fuck you or your family are!
Here. I'm sorry.
Thank you. Oh. Really? Really? I should have picked up the guns.